All right, so now we have moved into the idea of custom formulas, which basically means if you can think it and you can represent it mathematically, you can make it happen on Google Sheets. All right, so what we're going to be taking a look at is three different scenarios where we write our own custom formulas and go from there. So this first one that we have is I want to find out the sales tax. We know that sales tax in New York State is 8.875%. That's an extra fee that's added onto everything that we purchase that goes towards the state, towards operations and things like that. I've done the work of converting it to a decimal. If you don't know how to do that, you basically start where the decimal was in the percentage. If there's no decimal, it starts all the way to the right. And then you have to bring it back 2 spaces. And that converts it from percentages to decimal out of 100. So now that we have that number, we're going to start calculating our sales tax. In order to start a custom formula, all we need to do, just like before, is press equals. And then we can just start writing whatever we want, or even clicking to select things. So I'm going to click this price, that's cell A3, times that decimal, 0.08875, and press enter. And boom, I have just created my own custom formula. If I change this, let's say to $24.99, you'll notice that this also changes. Let's extend that to here and see exactly all the different tax rates on items. All right, so the first example, again, we're just trying to do some simple things, some simple custom formulas and seeing what we can get. So let's move on to scenario number 2. We want to calculate 3 different tips for a restaurant bill. So let's say that you are going out with your friends and the total bill comes out to $86.45. Let's say 4 of you decided to all go out for pizza, wings, sodas, and even a little bit of dessert. And among the 4 people, it came out to $86.45. So in order for us to calculate each of these tips, again, we just have to put in the custom formulas. So we can say equals this cell, click on A20, times, now 15%, remember we have to move the decimal 2 places, 0.15. And when I press enter, we get how much of a tip you should leave. You should probably round it up to $13 as a tip. We're going to do the same thing here, equals this cell times, this time it's 18%, so 0.18. And again, we get a much more generous tip of $15.56. And if we have absolute amazing service, well, I think we need to leave a 20% tip, and we're going to do the same thing. Equals this cell times 0.20. And what we have is a 20% tip being calculated at $17.29. All right, so it's kind of nice that you can plug in any of these calculator functions and see exactly what you get from it. Finally, what we have is scenario number 3. We have a situation where at some point you will probably be working a job where you get paid hourly, meaning the number of hours that you work represents how much you get paid. If you work for 3 hours, you get 3 times the hourly rate. If you work 24 hours, you get 24 times the hourly rate. So we can even go one step further. Let's take these and shift them over one. So we can do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Let's say that you actually have a system for all 5 days of the week. Let's say on the first day you worked for a 6-hour shift. On Tuesday you worked a 2-hour shift, Wednesday an 8-hour shift, Thursday an 8-hour shift, and Friday you put in a 10-hour shift because you are working like crazy. All right, let's say that we work at a job that pays pretty decently. You know, it's not bad for a high school job or, you know, even a couple years out of high school, and you're making $14 an hour. All right, and this is all of those days, so I'm going to extend that logic down. So we each get paid on the 14, all right? So now, in order to calculate the total pay, we are going to set it equal to this cell, B37, times the hourly rate, which is C37, and press enter. So you've now made $84 on the first day, on Monday. If we extend this logic down, Spreadsheets should be able to follow all of our rules, right? We only worked 2 hours, so that's $28. We worked 8 hours, that's $112. Another 8 hours, $112. And we did that 10-hour wild shift, which was $140. And if we wanted to figure out how much we made for the entire week, we could use an old formula that we know, equals sum, parentheses, and we can identify all of those to figure out how much money we earned in a week. If we wanted to make it a custom formula instead, we could also do that. We could say in here equals 84 plus 28 plus 112 plus 112 plus 140. And you'll notice that it didn't put in the actual numbers, it put in each of the cells how we identified them. When I press enter, we still get the same total. And what's interesting about this is later on, we can get rid of these hours and put in the next week's worth of work. 5 hours, 7 hours, 4 hours, 1 hour, and let's say on Friday we only worked 3 hours because it's Friday. And we can actually calculate, based on how many hours we're given, we can project or predict how much money we're going to get paid on here. All right? So with custom formulas, we can do just about anything. We can take random numbers. All right, and then what I can say down here is this cell is equal to this number times this number, subtracting this number, let's say plus this number, divided by this number, and then plus this number. And when I run this, it does all of the calculations. Now, does this formula have any interesting things with multiplication and subtraction and adding and dividing and adding again? Not really. It's more or less the idea that we can play around with our formulas and really do whatever sort of mathematical tricks we want. What we can also do is insert parentheses in different places to force the order of operations, and that changes our number as well. So throughout some of our tasks or our challenges, I'm going to be giving you some very specific mathematical formulas or steps that need to be done, and you'll be able to complete it with perfect precision every single time, because spreadsheets allow us to be mathematically accurate as long as we do things properly. All right? So custom formulas, there are a lot of things that you can do. You can raise items to powers. For example, this is 2 and this is 3. So I could say this is equal to this cell raised to the power of this cell. And that's 2 to the power 3, which gives us 2 times 2 is 4, times another 2 is 8. And that gives us our 8 right here. So we have a lot of capabilities and tricks and customizations and things like that that we can start plugging into spreadsheets. And again, we're going to be tackling these different types of challenges. Part of it's going to be like a word problem, and the other part is going to be actually applying the mathematics to it. And these are the types of skills that if you can continue building these skills and comfort and familiarity, combined with another area of knowledge, such as finance or investing, or even things like biology or chemistry or even social studies, any type of subject that you want to use, you can start building these formulas and almost like programming these spreadsheets to work exactly how you want. And that's the true power of spreadsheets. They allow you to basically grid your numbers and then do whatever type of analysis you would like to do from there. And that's pretty much it for the custom type of formulas that we can write.